way CoolSculpting works is everybody has areas of opportunity that they want to work on. They want to get rid of little bulges of fat that no matter what you do, you just can't get rid of them. So the way it works is you actually freeze the fat. If you look at the second little drop down right here on this side, you go down to the third one right here, and what you see is actually a depiction of fat being frozen, which means that they freeze the fat to a temperature that's at a higher temperature than skin or tissue, so it's not going to affect any skin, any tissue, nothing. It's just going to freeze the fat. And when it freezes the fat, it crystallizes the fat cell. So what that means is it breaks it apart, and macrophages or little white blood cells come in, eat the fat, and it's gone. So you'll start seeing results in as soon as 3 weeks, and you see the best results honestly in about 2 months in. Okay? The way it actually came about was there were some kids that were eating popsicles in Mexico, and what they were noticing was a dimpling in the cheeks. And when they were getting the dimpling in the cheeks, they were realizing that the popsicles were freezing the fat cells. So because of the freezing of the fat cells, they were like, well, obviously cold has an effect on fat. There's also another study that was done by Dr. Dieter Manstein that was talking about some equestrian riders that were riding on coal saddles in Virginia. And what they were noticing with the equestrian riders and they were on the horses, they were actually getting a hollowing out of the inner thighs. And what was happening is they were freezing the fat on their inner thighs by riding horseback.
How many applications does it usually take?
It depends on each person, so that's the reason why we would do evaluations on each person today. Give you a ballpark figure of what we think it'll run you, and then we start off with the first round for you to get an idea, and then after that, when you come in for your follow-up, your clinical follow-up, you decide if you want to do it again at that point. But it really does vary. It's normally, I mean, I have not seen anybody go below 2 ever. I mean, there's no reason to ever go below 2. That's just a waste of your money and a waste of the office's time. 2 or above, minimum, absolutely.
2 treatments or above.
2 treatments or above, and that's in one. Like say you were going to do a lower abdomen, you could do 1, 2. If you were going to do the full abdomen, you would do 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to bring all of the volume back. Say you were going to do love handles, you could do 2. It all depends on what your goal is, and that's why we try to do it in private when we bring you back into a room, is because we really want to figure out what is your goal, because everybody has a different goal. I mean, mine might be different than yours. You might have a wedding you're getting ready for, you might have summer you're getting ready for the beach. There's a different goal for everybody.
So this is permanent?
It's permanent. It's permanent. The way it works is, I wish I'd been able to get the slideshow up and running, and I'm really sorry about that, but honestly, it really doesn't show any more than this brochure does. It's a process called apoptosis. It happens naturally in your body anyway. When the fat cells freeze, they don't stay in the body. They crystallize into little area. It basically breaks the fat cell apart, and then a white blood cell comes in and eats it, eliminates it. So it's naturally gone from the body and will not come back.
Right. I suppose with proper eating, with proper diet and exercise.
Of course. I mean, it's not a cure-all. This is what I tell people all the time. If you've been dieting, getting exercise, absolutely keep up with it. If you haven't been dieting and exercise, start. That'd be a good idea to start. And it's not to make this more effective, it's just in general a good idea to have a healthy lifestyle. I mean, I see so many people that come in and want to get a procedure like this done and think it's a free-for-all, and you may look skinnier externally, but then your health is shot because you're not taking care of your internal organs, which will increase your visceral body fat, and that's not what you want to do. So, but the fat loss is permanent. We do treat only subcutaneous fat, we don't treat visceral fat, okay? So the difference between subcutaneous and visceral fat is subcutaneous is that fat, if you can pinch it and we can fit it in the cup, we can treat it. But if you have that hard belly that you can't get to, that's because the fat is underneath the muscle. So if it's underneath the muscle, we can't get to it, that's a different issue. That's visceral, that's much more of a, you definitely want to do diet and exercise at that point because that's a health issue. It's much more of a health issue. But one thing I do tell a lot of my offices, if we have a patient that comes through and they have a lot of visceral body fat, we set CoolSculpting as a goal. You know what? We'll set you up with a nutritionist, you do diet and exercise in 3 months, you start seeing great results, you start bringing back that volume of the visceral fat, and you have the subcutaneous coming forward, which is the pinchable fat, treat yourself. At that point, speed up the process. You know, why not? You earned it, so you may as well treat yourself. Okay?
Question.
after the first procedure, overall, does it hurt like through the healing? I just read some stuff online, and a lot of people mention how it's like excruciating pain that they go through.
Yeah, and just like anything that comes on the internet, the only thing you're ever going to hear about is the 5% of the bad things that ever happened, and you never hear about the 95% of the people that had, phenomenal results. There will always be an issue with any procedure that you have done. It doesn't matter what it is. There are 3 things that I'm going to mention. If I say the name of it and you have it, you'll know that you've had it. Number 1, cryoglobulinemia. Do any of you know what that is? Mm-mm. Then you don't have it. It's basically freezing of, it's protein clumping in the blood due to cold, okay? The other one is called paroxysmal cold hemoglobinuria. Then you don't have it either, okay? Cold urticaria, do you know what that is?
No.
Hives that are actually happen when you're exposed to cold, you get hives. Pregnancy or lactating, obviously you don't want to do. And the last one is an umbilical hernia. That's it. Other than that, you're a candidate. You know, if we can pull the fat off and it's something that you want to get going with, then we can do it. Absolutely. And as far as what you were talking about with the excruciating pain, 0.05% of the patients that use the larger applicator, which is a CoolMax, okay, very low percentage, gets